subject, and we can have a little fun with it today if you guys want to.
Bob, what do you think? Who should never be cloned?
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my call. There was talk recently of extracting DNA from the Shroud of Turin in hopes that they could clone Jesus Christ. I do not think this is a good idea, because if that was done and a man was raised in such a way, he could take over the world with his mind control and with his laser beams.
Yeah, I never thought of that whenever we thought about this question.
Yeah, that's a whole nother subject. That's amazing. We have Liz on the line now. Liz, go ahead.
Some phone calls and more follow-up on the specifics. Vice City, Florida, good morning. On our line for employers.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.com. I'm an employer in a nanotechnology firm, Zaibatsu. I'm against this legislation. I believe Representative Biggert, you're familiar with legislation about research into nanotechnology.
Yes, I am. I serve on the Science Committee.
Yeah, there was a recent $2 billion, I believe, was the legislation called for. This could be, nanotechnology could be used as a weapon, and nanites could be ejected into the enemy, which would enable CIA operatives to control their thoughts and emotional states. Could your guest comment on the effectiveness of zombie robot warfare?
That is very much off topic, but if you want to briefly respond to the caller's point, or we can move on to another call.
I can't respond to that right now.
But it's not unprecedented. It's not any kind of strange government thing.
All righty, we have Gino on the line. Gino, tell us where you were this morning.
I was reading my Bible this morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I think, I don't know what that fellow was talking about with the test in there. I think it's more a case of the Lord's wrath, perhaps. You know, there's verses in the Bible about sinners in the South will be subjected to God's flatulence. Dr. Kumar said that the focus was underground. He said it would focus, and it did. It focused real good. But I wonder if how many other callers felt what I felt, the movement of the earth like it was, and the perhaps the Lord's wrath, maybe the God's flatulence, perhaps.
All different sorts of interpretations.
Yeah, a lot of very interesting.
Another caller on the line. Bob, what do you think?
Thank you very much for taking my call.
Sure.
What exactly do you mean by that question?
Well, the question is, do you support the troops without supporting the war, or do you support both?
I'm not sure what even that means. I think our soldiers are fighting a holy war now against the Arabs, and the Bible says that war is good if it's against Arabs. I read scripture the other day, and it said, "Blessed is the warrior who enacts God's wrath on those who are different in God's eyes." I say we just need to support those soldiers and the war and the president, so that we can smite them in mass numbers for.
I don't know if the Bible says that war is good if it's against Arabs.
Yeah, I don't know that America's thumping the Bible to go to war. I think we're just wanting to get rid of an evil dictator. Of course, the verse that he quoted, we've heard some Muslims use those same words, citing religious reasons for killing the, quote, infidels. So, I guess both sides could do that if they wanted to, but we don't want to do that.
Next call is a Republican from Memphis. Good morning.
I clearly told the screener I was calling Chattanooga. Thank you.
I'm sorry?
Not Memphis. I thank you very much for taking.
Where are you calling from?
But Chattanooga, Tennessee.
And are you Republican?
Well, yes, sir. I'm undecided on this issue.
Right.
Initially, I think the war against the robots may not be such a good idea. Some of them are friendly, in fact, and some perform a helpful function in society. However, I do fear the robots. I don't think they can be trusted.
The robots?
Yes, sir.
And who are the robots?
Well, they're the mechanical, creatures that are put here on this earth to perform functions for us human beings.
And who puts them on the earth?
Well, I thought it was the space aliens.
Okay. And if it's not?
Well, then it could be a deity or some other form of life that we're unable to comprehend.
Can you give us one example of a robot?
Well, there's the one on Battlestar Galactica with the light that goes back and forth.
Okay.
And,
all right.
Yeah,
Germantown,
the
Maryland.
headlines of the program. It's a call-in program. We invite your phone calls at 622-4512. And we go to Polk County and welcome you to the program tonight. Hello.
Hello, Kevin. Thank you very much for taking my call. Thank you. I was going to speak to your guest about
the antibacterial procedures that I use. I have a clean room that I have in my house that I go to that I use to protect myself from the bacteria. It's basically it's mostly stainless steel. Every flat surface there is stainless steel. It's converted from an old surgical room. And I use bleach over the whole area on a daily basis. I don't come in contact normally with other people. I don't shake hands or touch anything from other people or even look them in the eye directly. I drink nothing but pure grain alcohol and rainwater. And I wanted to know if that's adequate procedures as far as antibacterial to keep myself from getting into them cooties like you're talking about from Hong Kong.
I'm glad that you're watching the program tonight. I really am. The pure grain alcohol, I think that perhaps he's been into it a little bit. I'm not sure. I mean, do we have to go so far as to worry about this virus then mutating into another virus? I mean, people that I talked to today, they're worried. You know, I mean, they're not going so far as to take the steps that he's suggested, obviously. But they are worried about this, you know, and they're looking for those proper health procedures.
We still have several callers on the line. Miles is standing by. What do you think about the situation?
Hey, I appreciate you guys taking my call on this. I think I'm seeing too many prisoners being taken. This is no way to fight a war. I don't think there's enough dead Arabs on the battlefield. I want to see more bloodshed during this coverage and less prisoners being taken by the American troops. So,
all right.
Thanks,
Miles. Thanks, Miles, for calling.
Scott, you got anything else to bring up? We're going to wait till we get Red Zone back on to discuss steroids here in a minute. You're on there.
Good evening. Who's the man with the green who wears the uniform of the German?
You want to talk to our soccer guy?
Who is this man?
Yeah, go ahead. That's Scott Hertz, spelled Herpst. He's actually played the game.
Fine German name.
He's probably got his pads on his knees right now.
You keep up with the German national team in the World Cup?
This means
Come
yes,
on, Scott.
This means
You've been
no.
waiting for 2 years to talk soccer on here, and you got a guy wanting to talk, and you won't talk.
What's my thoughts on them?
Yep.
No, do you keep
up with them?
I try to keep up with a little bit, as much as I possibly can.
Hey, in other words, he's telling you he knows they got a team.
If you stay up all night tonight, you'll see a German game.
What time does Germany play?
Beg your pardon?
What time does Germany play?
I think they play at 7:30 in the morning.
Do you think they have any guys on their team that might be on steroids?
No, the German national team's superior race of men. There are no.
Yeah, I know. Hitler was trying.
I like this guy's accent. It sounds like he knows, what he's talking about.
Yeah, and so was Hitler. Hitler had a superior race of.
On this team there's no Juden, there is no Schwartzes. It's a pure Aryan team. It's.
So you're telling me it's an all? Are you trying to tell me that this team is Germany all white?
Yes, sir.
There's an all white soccer team out there playing.
That's why they will be number one.
Thank you, Saul. Are you serious?
He sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
Do you think? You imagine him being shaved-headed, real light complected?
No, I like the
big blue eyes.
I like the accent, and he's doing a good job of making it sound right.
Thank you for calling. And 7:30 in the morning.
Yes, get up early and watch the team.
All right, buddy.
The former champions, France, from last World Cup, were defeated by a team of Africans.
Exactly right.
Today, an amazing game.
Thank you so much. Senegal, right? Senegal, right? Senegal. You're on the air.
Lonesome town where the
Stump on Sports.
Late night.
Brought to you by their Chattanooga area Coca-Cola Bottling Company and all those all-star sponsors that make it possible. Don't forget my buddy Craig Driver out at Final Touch. Went by there today. He's got some super cars out there. And remember, at Final Touch, he doesn't have to tell you that he has nice cars. They are nice. Go by and see those folks over there.
Go by and see for yourself.
You're on the air. Thank you so much for being patient and getting entertained during the commercial break.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to say that the purity of the German national race...
No, he's back again.
...proven itself against the mongrel dogs of Saudi Arabia. The Arab races are truly inferior as they were...
And Germany won. What was the score?
8-0 was the score.
8-0. Are you serious?
Ever achieved by the German national team.
Is the German national team for real?
Pardon?
Is the German national team for real? Are they that good?
They're that good. They are plagued by many injuries. were not expected to do very well. They've proven themselves a superior area race against...
Well, they haven't proven themselves superior race until they win it all. And then I'm not sure they're going to be the superior race, but they're going to be the superior soccer team.
They have proven that the Saudi Arabian Arab swine are an inferior race of... if the game...
They're not as good soccer players.
If we were playing terrorist training camp, perhaps Saudi Arabia would have come out ahead. But we are playing soccer, the world's most...
Let me ask you a question. Does the name Ruby Ridge mean anything to you? Thanks for the call. Bye.
Whoa.
Oh, guys, I promise you that's not a set-up call. I don't know the guy. You're on the air. Go ahead.
How you plan to address this legislatively.
Okay.
The first call is from Tennessee, and is the town called Bogob?
It's Bog Gob,
No,
Tennessee.
I wasn't even close. Sorry.
That's
Welcome.
quite all right. How you guys doing this morning?
Just fine, sir.
Where in the heck is Bogob?
Bog Gob is a town near Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay, so you're in the
Familiar
eastern
with
half.
Chattanooga?
I have. I've driven through it a number of times. Pretty place.
We'd love to have you again.
Okay.
All righty. Well, thank you for taking my call. I was going to say, and I do admire that when you make the decision to open your phone lines to the general public, you know, I really admire your ability to do, 3 hours, no commercials, subject yourself to the abuse of the general public like this. It's a great forum. I sure do appreciate C-SPAN. Mr. Taylor, I wanted to say that recent closures of bases in this area, they revealed, stuff was sold for surplus, military crates and so forth, containing potential undead material, and they're labeled with a phone number. Oftentimes, that can be used if the zombies get out of control. But what I wanted to say was, when you fellas open up the phone lines like this, you take the risk of the goof calls and the crazies and the retards and the people trying to get their plugs in and stuff like that. But then again, if it wasn't for the live call-ins that you get, the show would often be as boring as the rest of C-SPAN tends to get there. But like I said, I'm glad you got the idea of the bases being closed, is provided that we have proper countermeasures in place for when the zombies get out of hand.
Thank you very much.
Or, appreciate you. Bob's on the line. Let's see what's on your mind, Bob. What do you want to hear the governor talk about tonight?
Well, I've got a couple of ideas. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm a veteran. I think. By the way, who is this I'm speaking with here on this? Who's the white lady here?
This is Melissa.
I'm sorry, I've never seen her before.
That's okay. You got to tune in at 10. She anchors the 10 every night.
All righty then. Well, thank you very much. You're very lovely. I was going to say that they'll put anyone on 10 care. Start cutting back on the deadbeats. I think that might save the government some money. The budget problems are the #1 issue that the governor will be speaking about. For spend more money researching on the flying cars and laser beams and things, and quit paying for them deadbeats that are on the 10 care disability checks and so forth.
Okay, so
I appreciate you taking my call on this issue there. And I believe, ma'am, I think you've got something there on your knee there.
Okay, well, thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks. It's probably a scar.
Probably. Maybe it is.
I have a big scar on my knee.
Let's go ahead to Coney.
Coney, what would you like to hear the governor talk about?
Thank you for taking my call. This is Connie.
Connie,
Connie, I'm sorry.
That's right. There is.
Sometimes these little earpieces don't work too well. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. Yes, there's money in the budget for those magnetic levitation devices that gentleman was speaking about in the roadways for the flying car. But that money's spent in that way is depriving me of my government check. I get a disability, or my nub. I get a disability check. But, when the government spends money on them crazy things like that, I don't get as much money cut towards me with the amount of the dollars towards my check. But,
All right. Let's move on to Jack. A lot of people got a lot of different things on their mind today. Jack, what's on your mind? What do you want the governor to talk? Ross, next. Ross, what are your thoughts on this issue?
Thank you for taking the call.
Sure.
I think Principal Jones was right to call this type of dress pimp-like. I saw those kids strutting around on the stage like Kid Charlemagne, just like I saw the adults graduating from UTC, and there was a couple that tried to do the same. They strutted and did their little dance and everything. And it's interesting that someone would say that it's racist to call a type of dress pimp-like, or to use the word pimp is therefore racist, because that offends me, because that means that a white person or a Mexican person can't be a pimp. Pimps are necessarily with black people. So if you say that calling someone pimp
is a racist statement, then that means that you're saying you're associating the word pimp with black people. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. If pimps wear flashy clothing because they want to attract business, and this type of dress, like this kid running across with the blue suit, I mean, that's not something you wear out in public. You know, you flash your clothes and your gold and your glittering and all that. That's to call attention to yourself, and that's pimp life, because that's what pimps do. They go out and they attract business by wearing their flashy clothes, and then people come up and talk to them, and they know. You recognize a pimp. If you want to get a hooker for the night, you know what to look for. You look for a guy that's dressed like those kids were dressing.
But Ross, let me ask you here. That is the style. I've seen a lot of people dressed in public that way. Maybe we don't go in the same circles as you do. But.
Next call is from Creflo, Tennessee. Good morning.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
That's Creflo, Tennessee.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate that. I was going to ask your guest to speculate on the level of information we have on the Middle East in the 70s versus now, and more specifically, does the government and media really acknowledge the number of undead in Baghdad and the spread thereof, and what final solution is provided by that phone number that's on the crate in dealing with the zombies?
I was a former intelligence officer, and you can never have enough.
Next is Chattanooga, Tennessee, on our Just About Right line. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call. I agree with the previous caller. That was a great caller about the. You don't take calls from our area very often, and he had some great points to say.
From your area, do you mean Tennessee?
Yes, sir. I'm from Tennessee as well.
Well, we take calls from Tennessee all day long. We love Tennessee.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. But what I was going to say was I think that the taxes they're just about appropriate. Being at what I do, I feel that my tax rate, based on the resources I receive from the government, because I make bootleg liquor and I don't pay taxes at all. What do you think of that?
Do you really?
Yeah, I sure do.
Are you just making that up, or are you just being funny?
No, sir. No, sir.
What do you make?
What do I make?
Yeah, what do you make? Wait, what's it called? White Lightning?
Corn liquor. That's right. Yes, sir.
Corn. You make it out of corn?
Yes, sir. Corn squeezins.
So what would happen if you got caught making that?
Oh, I've been caught plenty of times.
What happens?
Well, you just got to pay your fine. You just got to grease the appropriate officials, and then you're back on the streets with it.
Do you make it? Do you make it in your house? Do you
no,
have
sir. No, it's out in the woods. You got to keep it still out in the woods. My father taught me how to do it. His father taught him how to do it. Our family makes the best bootleg corn liquor there is in these parts.
And do you have a name for it?
Well, everybody knows it.
What do you call it?
Well, they call it corn liquor. They call it moonshine. They call it Shapus. They call it all kinds of things.
No, I mean, do you have a brand name for your corn liquor?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir.
Okay, well, didn't mean to get stuck on that, but that was rather interesting. New York City, you say...